Hello everyone and welcome to Discraft Presents Sun Kings Throwdown the Mountain number 9. We're here for the third and final round at the Grand Canyon Disc Golf Gold Course. Well, what's left of it? That's after Justin Bunnell scorched it during the second round. However, his 11 under during that second round only gives him a 2-stroke advantage over Florida's own Charlie Goodpasture. We're here on hole 1 playing uphill, 318 feet, probably plays closer to 350. No real danger of OB, left, right, or beyond, but if you slide past that plateau, past the shelf, you can have a difficult look at a birdie putt. And as we mentioned, Justin Bunnell he opened with a 4 under, came back out in round 2, shot an 11 under, and now has this 2-stroke advantage. New guy on the card, Brandon Brown, will be joining us, and we'll see a little more Aaron Doyle. That's tight to the right side, but kicks back out for him. You have a long look at birdie. Castoplast sponsored. And Florida local, Charlie Goodpasture. Both Justin and Brandon, sponsored by Prodigy. Charlie putting a pretty good move on that one. We've seen him go that route all 3 days. And this is my first introduction to Brandon Brown. As I mentioned, also sponsored by Prodigy. Apparently, he has a very proficient forehand. And just like that, up, putting on the dance floor. I guess I always use the phrase dance floor. That comes from a buddy, and it dates back at least 15, maybe 20 years. But I guess putting on the dance floor seems like a weird thought process or vision. I don't know where this is going to go. That's going to go sideways real quick. Doyle's was short. Unfortunately for him, this is really kind of just, I mean, I was going to say layup territory. I only say layup territory because something like that can happen. I feel like the payoff for that putt is so much lower. The risk is so much greater than what could possibly happen, but a solid run by Aaron. Then again, Aaron might be thinking it is go time. He's only got 18 holes left to play. He's down 5 to Charlie. He's down 7 to Justin. And Justin not quite on the mark to get started. Beautiful Sunday afternoon. Well, I consider it beautiful. Temps in the 60s. Light winds and relatively overcast. Here's Goodpasture trying to get 1 stroke on Justin. Sit down. All right, that's not how things are supposed to go on a Sunday afternoon. Understandably, Charlie wants to take a moment. Nothing like a little nasty roll away to get things started. Granted, still plenty close, but goes from almost picking up a stroke to just staying on pace now here with Justin for hole 1.
Right on the edge of the hill.
And not only did Brandon's drive have enough power, it actually had too much. And so for that being the first time I've ever seen him throw a drive, I got to admit I'm intrigued. I'm ready to see what this guy's got. great birdie to open up. He's out of Powell, Texas. PDGA number 87673. And certainly playing some good golf here this weekend. Just a little shake and bake on hole 1. Here we are, hole 2. You got to punch this gap. Let it hyzer out. Stay maybe just short or past that low-lying area right there, that darker spot. This is kind of the short route if you want to go up and through here. There's also another alley that someone could take, or if you're maybe down on that flat spot, you may go with the high swooping left to right shot during your second shot. Very protected green. Certainly feels a little bit like a bonus if you pick this one up. Justin going through his routine. We'll talk a little bit more about some of Justin's other accomplishments and accolades now that we're seeing him here back on the scene again. I've gone as far as actually preparing my question. I know usually they just come in the middle of the round and often they don't make sense. I've got a good question for you guys that you're going to have to answer in the comments, which will make you eligible for some giveaways. But he's through the tunnel. Charlie right side. So we've seen 2 great drives from Charlie on this hole in the previous 2 rounds, but that one's pulled to the right. That stays clean, and it does. Great shot by Aaron. And it's nearly impossible if you're not down somewhere on the flat spot, anywhere down there on that flat spot. It's really tough to get into position to throw a shot that gets up and to the right far enough to actually have a look at birdie. So right now, Charlie's doing what he can to save the par. See what kind of action Brandon's got. That's high, and that's hyzering to the right. And he caught the tree, and it kicked it back out. Now, he's in the open. He should have a relatively easy up and down. Had that penetrated, he might have actually got all the way up to the pin. So it would have been an incredible recovery shot. Aaron's taking that high, swooping left to right turnover. And depending on where that cut rolls back out to, he might have a look at it. And here's the area I talked about earlier. This is just casual, that red painted area. Tough to tell exactly where that finished. Charlie with his berg trying to fight through. I wish I had something more clever or insightful to say about this, but really you're throwing to a spot, you're hoping that it punches through. There's a small gap in there somewhere. I feel like if you come in low, you might avoid some of the actual branches, and you're just going to have to deal with the trunks, or you go high like we just saw from Brandon, and you're just kind of rolling the dice as to where it's going to pull it down and where it's going to finish. Charlie now left about a circle's edge putt. Wow, solid par save, and that was probably even actually outside the circle. A great birdie by Aaron. Incredible way to negate the bogey that he opened with. I think about hole 2 being considerably tougher than what hole 1 is. But that's all part of golf. Hole 2 measures Literally twice as far as hole 1, and Aaron cards the 3. Justin, the uphill birdie. Putting stroke looks to be on. He'll take the birdie, and Brandon, not far from the basket, but clearly not wide open either. Oh, that was a shoulder shimmy if I've ever seen one. I appreciate all the responses you guys gave, talking about what your celebration dance is. I don't know, maybe he's got an attack of the sawgrass. Huge shout out to Discraft, of course, one of the presenting sponsors here, along with Sun King. As we take a look at hole 3, you're really trying to get somewhere onto this road, but you'd love to somehow find a flat spot, and that's nothing more than luck at that point. But throwing onto the road is really the spot you want to be. If you're in good enough position, you may even have a standstill, or if you do have to run up the hill a little bit, let's hope that it's as flat as you can find. Always awkward throwing at an incline. Justin, good shot right up the middle. The one thing you cannot do on this tee shot is saw it off short and left.
Like a little twirl.
I've seen better twirls, Aaron. I'm just going to say it. We'll have to confirm, but it looked like Aaron's might be a little short and left, and if so, that might be trouble. Charlie using all of that right side to keep it up the middle. Now, Justin went a little bit long. I still think you'd rather be a little bit long on this side as opposed to being short and left where you can't even see it. If Justin at least has an angle here, and he's on the low side, so even though he's farther away from the basket, his run-up is a little bit easier than somebody who might be 30 or 40 feet closer to the basket. You see the pitch up there by Brandon. And here's where I talk about Charlie or any player. You know, you want to find yourself in this area. Does that stay up?
I didn't.
And Charlie was excited. He knows that the last 2 days he had short-armed it and thrown it into that left side hill. So this time he made the adjustment. Aaron standstill Warden. Hopefully it'll work. And again, this is our first time meeting Brandon, but I'm wondering, wow, what kind of jump putt does this guy have? And apparently a pretty good layup jumper from about 90 feet. Justin just outside the circle. And he knows it's in.
Jurassic Park in the background.
Yeah, a little bit loud and rowdy. Also, full disclosure, there was apparently something that went quite wonky, is the official term, with my microphone anytime during this front nine. So every once in a while, the microphone sounded like it was being abducted by aliens that were not having a good time. And so there may be a few muted spots. I was not about to put you guys through it. Oh, the joys of filming and editing. Double G Craft Jerky coming at you guys. Hole 4, 407 feet. Used to play to the shorter pin position. I've harped on it enough. I'm sure Mike is not watching, but Mike Barnett, TD, if you're watching, we'd love to see that pin back there, making just this a little. It was already a really tough birdie, and to push it back to where it is makes it almost an impossible birdie as a par 3. But it's almost would be too easy as a par 4. I don't have all the answers, guys. Uh-oh. Justin's got back-to-back birdies on 2 and 3. And somehow that keeps going for Aaron. Clearly Justin's going to be in some trouble. This might be an opportunity for Charlie. Oh, I'll steal his line. That was a pure line. Okay. Tough to say if that actually helped or really hurt, because if that would have skipped hard left, it might have found a little bit of a worse angle for him to approach. So the fact that it kicked and then kicked back a few feet, I don't think really hurt him at all. Justin trying to do a little scrambling. Throws down the roller. We saw a roller go OB in round 1, but this one checks up. And from there, he's going to have to make some kind of magic happen if he's trying to save the par. Aaron's got a little forehand flick that just comes off that right side shelf. So we'll see how far that rolled down the hill. Justin's got an alley. Okay, that also might have slid off just a little bit to the right. Good looking shot. And here's Brandon. I think at this point, Charlie had looked at me, if I recall, as I'm holding the camera, thinking, this guy's jumping this thing? And he's doing it perfectly. So that is nothing but a compliment to you, Brandon. But to be throwing a jumper uphill, you saw Justin's throw, you saw Charlie just throw. Like, to have enough power and control to throw a straddled jumper, even if just laying up, is incredible from that distance. Aaron can't convert. And Justin's got work to do. This is for his bogey 4. Psh. I mean, if you're gonna take a bogey, do it in style. I mean, he was all over the fairway and off the fairway, and then makes a solid putt. And he's gonna lose a stroke to Goodpasture with that. So they're back to the deficit they initially started with here. There was a 2-stroke difference between the two. They started at 15 and 13 respectively. Big shout out to Midi Disc Golf. We might look for some disc golf guy, grasshopper, pullover combo, co-brand. Yeah, we're in the works. We're in the works, folks. Midi Disc Golf out of the Milwaukee area. And here's number 5, the downhill hyzer. We don't have the hay bales. We saw 4 attempts go high yesterday, and Aaron's was the only one that got through. Charlie goes much lower, but it gets a really odd reverse skip or anti-skip up into the right instead of just skipping hard left, more of a flare. Charlie, you don't have enough flair, man. And the aliens at this point also ate the microphones for a moment. But here's Justin. Oh, no. I feel like I could have just hit it on replay, though. Justin and Brandon, tight left, hitting the tree, and then kind of staying on that hillside. Aaron got through yesterday. And he hits the tree, but still has CTP again today. Brandon, the mountain goat. Wow, and after quite the deliberation he had, that ended up being a really good shot for him. Charlie outstretched and trying to keep it low under the branches, but it looked like he just didn't throw that one hard enough. Aaron, come on. Back-to-back days, Aaron taking the birdie. And if you're thinking, wow, Terry, normally you're usually reciting how difficult these holes are, I think, yeah, I probably should be doing that. Thanks to the PDGA and the scoring app, which you guys can also use. Goodpasture gonna take the bogey. This being hole number 5, comes in right about in the middle in terms of difficulty, average 2.98 during this final round. And Justin is going to tap in for his par. Yeah, it looks like this card trying to be statistics. My disc in a box for all your disc shipping needs. Yeah, that is my company and my disc box shipping solution. So if you need some boxes, please reach out to me. I offer up boxes that are specifically made for shipping discs, along with your option of bags if you need to buy any as well. Some reclosable poly bags. Here's Doyle. You know, I said this yesterday. You're really just trying to throw a hyzer. You cannot come in too early, but almost any other 350-ish foot hyzer should do the job for you. That a year ago would have been in a world of hurt, but with some of the new trimming on the sawgrass, that's in perfectly fine position for Brandon. That maybe is a little tight. He'll have to turn that over. But that still, that's very workable position. And Charlie, well, splitting the difference between what we saw by Brandon and Justin. And coming up really short and finding himself on that hillside was Aaron. Got to commend the discipline, just trying to pitch it out, see if he can still possibly get up and down, take a par. That's leaking to the left side. We'll see if he's got a look from there. This hole has averaged as one of the easier holes, if I recall. We'll see if my stats can back up my hunch. Yeah, this actually comes in as the 4th easiest hole relative to par. So averages 3.84, 0.16 under par, that is. And Charlie, a little rollback. That'll work. And Justin's got so much distance on this tee shot that actually this is just a standstill for him. Trying to pitch it up. A little cut roll right back to the pin. Aaron, I think the day before, had possibly hit a tree up there and it kicked right just to the left. Kind of having a similar result. And Justin stands still underneath the basket pretty much. And Aaron, a little bit of work there. Fun. Well, maybe not so fun fact for Aaron. I don't believe he's taken a par yet this round. He's got a number of bogeys, number of birdies as I bumble through that, but I don't think he has a par yet. And thus far, through 6 holes, he is in fact even. That was his 3rd bogey, and he's also had 3 birdies. Big shout out to DGA. We're going to be giving away some DGA action. Also, big shout out to Trevor, who helped out in round 1. I know you guys are missing him. I'm missing him. I wish we had him for commentary, but in order to get these videos out at all during this week and keep this train rolling, it was a matter of just me jumping on the mic and getting it done, as Trevor had traveled to North Carolina, and ultimately I was traveling out to Bend, Oregon. And there's a stump out there, or a tree, or a branch, I should say, that was out of place. That one just totally working Brandon with what looked like a perfect shot. And then somebody put that tree there in Justin's way. Charlie's left. The one big thing we've seen here, and Aaron actually during the previous round skipped up, hit the pole, and rolled back 30 feet. This is Bunnell from probably 80, maybe 85 feet. Wow. And the look. Did you see? He was staring at you. Yeah, he was looking right at you.
And he continues. I was going to lay up. Wow.
Let's look at that one again. Oh, he's just looking it down. I don't even care that it goes in after he gives us this look. Yeah. Yeah, right there, Justin. We see you. You see us. We love it. Wow, incredible. So Brandon had made the joke saying he was thinking about just laying up. Now he feels like he can after watching Justin do that. There's nothing wrong with laying up, Brandon. It would be a very smart move here. Set. Okay, okay. There's a pro tip in there somewhere, folks. You do not, you don't need to be the hero that Justin is. You don't need to alter your game plan if you don't want to. This is just a really an infamous green. I've seen so many crazy things here throughout the years. Even when this basket was down and to the right.
Don't you do any like that. Thank you. Thank you. I'm okay with that. I really am. That's.
Well, you have to be, Charlie. I mean, if we're being honest, you got to be okay with that. Aaron's like, what's par? So here's the question, and it's going to be one of the easiest ones ever to answer for you guys. Justin, who is an incredible athlete and has performed very well. We'll talk more about his accolades again, and maybe even in the back nine. But one thing I do want to ask you, and this is all you have to answer, is if you go to Justin's PDGA page, you see 29 wins. for him. My question to you is, do you think he has more or less than that number of 300 games in bowling, which AKA is a perfect game? He's a bowler. He's a baller. He's a bowler. That's the question. That's all you need to say is more or less than the 29 career wins he has in disc golf. Does he have more or less 29 300 games? That will make you eligible to win some giveaway action. Oh, he's going to need that to sit. And, all right. Feel like kind of a duplicate of round 2. If this gets away from you, gets a little bit squirrely, you can find yourself in the OB line that is adjacent there to hole 18. So you need to be fully committed on the turnover shot, or you might bring that OB line into play. And I love the forehand here by Brandon because he's got the power for it. Okay, well, he needed more of the hyzer for it, but definitely the shot for Brandon in this case. Let's see if Charlie turns this over enough.
Thank you.
It's a good-looking line. We'll see if it was high enough. I think that would be the only issue, is if it had enough height to it. Justin's currently doubled his lead. He started with a 2-stroke advantage. He's built that up to 4. Brandon and Aaron, albeit playing perfectly fine, don't appear to be on any kind of hunting pace to try and get after Justin. So we're going to have to see if this becomes a one-man show or a 2-horse race or a 3-legged pony. I don't think that's a thing. I just had to throw it out there. Or is it? It's been a long week. I don't know if 3-legged pony is really a saying in any way. And I'm not going to Google it, so you guys can. As looks like he was out of position, so a little pitch up there by Charlie. He's going to be next to the pin. Justin's in for the par. Again, this is definitely one of the bonus birdies that you find out here on this course if you are somehow able to get it. Hole 8 coming in as the 5th most difficult, averaging .38 above par. We're going to go with the silent movie effect. Huge shout out to Mike Barnett, his crew, Dwayne Reeder, specifically who I stay with, him and his wife, Susan, just incredible people, incredible hospitality. I've been to Florida quite a few times now for some golf, and if you guys keep having me, I'll keep coming back. As we look at our last hole, what'd I call you? The final hole in the front 9 used to be hole number 10, but now we've got a new hole number 10, and an adjustment was made. So 344 feet on the spine. Four strokes between Justin and Charlie, and 4 between Charlie and Brandon. That is... Oh, he says he did it again, but it does keep going for him. Justin's had kicked down and to the right. See some of that backhand power. I think this might even be a mid out of Brandon. Of course, the event brought to you by Sun King and Discraft, along with DGA. I know is a big supporter. But also got to say, there's been a lot of really big fans out there, fans that have been talking about whether it's Prodigy or Castoplast. It's just awesome to see so much love and support for all of our players out here. And not much happening there for Charlie to try and get out. That's his second. Here's Justin, who made it all the way down to the bottom. We're just going to say he's the tightest gap in the world to hit here. Because whatever he did have, whether it was wide open or not, which I don't think it was, he parks it, put right next to the pin, and an incredible recovery shot here on 9. And no surprise, I said how 8 was the 5th most difficult. Well, this is the 4th most difficult. Averaging .41 above par. Charlie with the forehand pitch up. Aaron's best bet is to lean out to the right. And you'll hear a number of players ask this. He just asked if he was good. So if you're ever in kind of an awkward stance or position, it's always kind of a good idea to ask the rest of your card mates, like, hey, are my feet good? Am I in a good spot here? Do I have a legal stance? Ask them that ahead of time. And here's Brandon. Again, I'm not laughing in a negative way. It's incredible to think he's got 100+ feet to the pin, and this is clearly a comfort shot for him. Oh, that doesn't seem fair. That would be another good question for you guys is, at what point are you putting versus throwing? You could answer that one instead if you'd like. Oh, no. Oh, no. Incredible. That actually rolled all the way down and out of bounds. I've talked about this before. If you go out of bounds, you can either play from where you were last in bounds or from where you previously threw from. So this could not better be a better example as to how much more beneficial it is to throw from where you previously had thrown from. So he didn't have to go all the way to his lie. Now, more often than not, you're going to want to take it because you probably gain distance or you're closer. In this case, not the case. As Snoop would say, murder was the case that they gave me. Oh, no. And in the craziest turn of event, that doesn't go out of bounds. So he's actually, in a sense, he has to go play it unless he wants to give up a stroke or two and abandon his lie. That's a whole nother rule. But Aaron is going to go down there and has a much worse lie. And this comes on the heels of Aaron just taking his first par on the previous hole. At this point, my heart is in my throat. It's heartbreaking to watch anyone struggle on a hole or have a hole just chew you up and spit you out. All right, good putt by Goodpasture for the double. But that's going to momentarily put him two strokes more behind Justin. Unfortunately, that's a triple bogey for Aaron. Brandon, who doesn't love hole 9 either, a triple bogey. So we've got a double, a triple, and then I got to admit, I made the joke to Justin. I said, you threw one of the worst shots, and you're walking away with a par. And with that adorable face, he just grinned. he knew he got away with one. So, guys, we just have 9 holes left. Justin seems to be on track, but anything can happen. I want to thank you guys all for joining me again. Does he have more or less than his 29 wins in 300 games bowled? And one quick look at your scorecard. Not much movement going on. That's going to really shake things up on the lead card. But this is what we have, and we're excited to bring you the final 9 in just a few moments. We'll see you guys in the back.